Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I am your host, 𝑤𝒉𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈. And today I have Mr. Joel 𝑤𝒍𝒑𝒃 as my co-host. Welcome, Joel. And today's special guest is Keoke King. Now, Keoke is a friend of Joel's who brilliantly thought to bring Keoke onto the show because Keoke is the co-founder and CEO of Participant Assistive Products. Welcome to the show, Keoke.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks, Joel.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Keoke, could you really quick explain to us what participant assistive products are?
Sure. So assistive products are things like glasses and hearing aids and wheelchairs. So, I guess we all have like little needs, and so it was like technology can help us to do things a little bit better. So our flagship product is a wheelchair for children with cerebral palsy. We're really thinking about how to make good products available in lower income countries.
And that's all. And Keoke, just to let people know, we always talk to people before we have a live show or anything like that. Keoke's very humble. And let me point out that you are the first medical device company registered as a benefit corporation.
Yep.
That's a big win right there. That's kind of huge. And why? So other than the kudos for that one, why did you start your company? I know that there's a long story of what made you go into this field.
Yeah. So before I was doing this, I started a global wheelchair distribution company. So, governments want to get good products, and there's nonprofits that want to, serve people in various places. And so our idea was, well, we'll just buy good products and then we'll market them, and more people will have the products they need. And we figured out that those products don't exist. So there's sometimes it's like designed for the environment, like the products are designed to be used in a US environment. So, like smooth floors, relatively smooth sidewalks, and so on and so forth. Easy access to batteries for hearing aids. Those are all important to consider. But then other times it's just like they're designed for the price that Medicare will pay. And so the prices are just like super high. So we saw this gap. And then I was like, wow, how can I work on this problem? I got together with a couple of co-founders and we launched off. Give it a shot.
And that's actually, go ahead, Joel, sorry.
I know, I'm just, it's amazing because like you make it sound like it was like I had this weekend thought where I'm like, oh, I noticed this, I'm just going to make it happen. And so I mean, it's really, like Wendy said, you're very humble about
Thank you, Joel.
the work that you're doing. But so I want to talk to you a little bit about, so right now your primary focus is on wheelchairs, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
can you tell us a little bit about like what the products are and how things are going and where you're finding the most need?
Oh, thanks. So, one of our products is like a product that my grandmother used. It's like we call it a transport chair. It's like something an elderly person would sit in, but only for, a short period of time. Mm-hmm. Maybe she spent most of her time on her lazy boy or something like that, right? But then there's other people like you may be or have friends that are, spinal cord injury or something. So they're sitting in their wheelchair like all day long, every day. So it needs to really support their posture in a particular way. It's like much more durable. The usability and kind of like how friendly are the features and how does it work? Can the person get it in and out of the car by themselves? So these are things that people want to be more independent. And so we're designing our products so they both are affordable and work well for these lower income country environments, and then serve all those different needs. And like I mentioned, the flagship product is this chair for kids with cerebral palsy, and their needs are really different than like an adult with a spinal cord injury because they might not be able to hold themselves up at all. So their head just kind of will flop down, and a kid wants to be able to go to school and have like, good eye line connection with other people and the class in the chalkboard and all that kind of stuff. So for this chair, the seat is actually going to tilt back, and then the headrest will hold their head. And so now they've got like eye line connection, and gravity's kind of helping there. So that's, those are some of our products. That's the kind of stuff that we do.
I just want to connect some dots because again, you're so humble. You are providing the gift of mobility to people who generally wouldn't have it. And most people, when they think about wheelchairs, they think of grandma just needs to go from point A to point B, short time in the chair. These are people who spend their life in a wheelchair. and they need comfort, they need neck support, as you said, and they need all-terrain mobility, because you're dealing in countries, and if you can share the countries, that'd be awesome, that don't have smooth roads or sidewalks. They're going to need all-terrain vehicles.
Yeah, I like to use the metaphor of a bridge. So, wherever you are, if you're in the idyllic Mexican fishing village, just chilling and catching fish by the ocean and whatever local resources are there, and then, or if you're in like a great big city with lots of, things to do and places to go, and, if you're, maybe you could get employment, you could go out there and get education, you can make friends, you can go to parties, you can worship, like all that stuff is out there, right? But if you're in your house and you don't have mobility, it's like there's no bridge. It's like those things are just like just like you can see them, but you can't get to them, like for one side of a river and there's no bridge. So so mobility does open up a lot. And I think one of the things that's really neat about what we do is this is not like education where you're like, they were in first grade and then they were in second grade. And then after 20 years, you can kind of see, did that education work? But this is, a lot of times we'll see, kids they're pretty isolated. They're, in their home by themselves all day. There may be a caregiver that could be working or getting an education that is also there, with the child. And then suddenly, oh, they have mobility and they're able to go to daycare and mom can get a job. And the kid went from 0 friends to a dozen, and all the social interaction and all the positive things that can happen. So it's fun. It's fun for me. We get to do something that's like immediately, like very tangibly makes a difference.
Now, do the chairs, because you're working with children, is it the kind of thing where they have to be replaced over time, or is it a product that kind of grows with them?
Yeah, so in the US, a child would usually get a chair like every 3 or 5 years, and then we've designed our chair so that it does kind of grow with the child. So we lead the industry in expandability. That's the bullet point on the brochure. But yeah, it's important because the chairs are still not cheap, right? So the government or the nonprofit or whoever's buying the chair, it's usually not the family, because they don't have a lot of cash. If you have a kid with a disability, versus the neighbors nearby, your medical costs are probably 1.5 or 2. So it's just like you have a lot more medical costs anyway. People have less disposable income; they can't pay for that chair. So yeah, we want it to last. So we design it so that it grows with the child.
I'm sorry, Wendy, I know you're about to speak, but I just have to say, I find this to be absolutely amazing that that this hasn't been done. That the business behind this that has been able to, and people have to keep paying for these things again and again and again, versus it being, like you said, you're working with people that may not have the money or the ability to do that. So to create a product that, yes, it may not be a cheap investment up front, but you don't have to keep redoing it.
Right.
Every years. It floors me that there's, we're always amazed at, we always say follow the money. But for an industry like this that's so built on quality of life, to have a history where the quality of life is too expensive, or it creates an impediment to create that quality of life, that's disturbing. So I love what you're doing.
He's putting people first.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for the money-oriented, business-oriented people out there, there's some whys behind this, and there's a big opportunity for us. So first opportunity first. So the middle-income country markets, there's something like 40 million people who need a wheelchair and don't have one, and that group will, according to the World Bank, double over the next 20 years. So from 80 million people. Okay, so then this is not just really, really impoverished countries where nobody has, these are middle income. This is Mexico, right? So people have some money there. They buy things. They buy cars. So these are real markets where businesses can be successful, and there's a huge unserved need, and we want to be the leader in those markets. So then, to your question, like why is this the case? Well, it's like these are medical devices, right? So R&D for medical devices takes a long time. You have to get all different kinds of testing will be FDA approved. So there's lots of regulatory. You have to do a good job. It takes a long time. So then this is not like, let's start selling hats on eBay. We're just like, well, I bought a hat and I sold it tomorrow. It's like you got to raise a lot of money, and then you're going to have to do a lot of development, and then you can get sales, and then gradually hopefully your brand grows over time. So normally investors want to invest in, like, let's sell to Medicare. And so what does Medicare pay? And that's the price. And then you kind of begin with that. But for us trying to reach these, unreached markets, it's a different pitch to investors. It's a little bit more like an impact investing pitch. But we do expect that we can become a $100 million company over the next 7 or 8 years. Like this will be a big company.
I want to throw some statistics that I got from your website that 40 million people in middle income countries do not have access to a wheelchair. 40 million. That's a lot of people who are stuck at home, cut off from society. That's going to affect your mental being, your social interactions. So the fact that you're doing this, again, you're humble, you can beat your own drum a little bit louder because what you're doing is you found a niche and you're putting people before profit, which is very important.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you call them comorbidities, but just like other mental health things, physical health things that go along with needing a wheelchair. So one of the gaps is, like, not only people don't have a chair, but they don't have access to knowledge. And like what is cerebral palsy, and how do if the child has trouble eating, how do you help a child with cerebral palsy eat more so they keep their weight on? So there's a lot of things that we'll be able to provide. Actually, like, artificial intelligence is really a cool thing that we've been using. So you can have a chat bot, hopefully, like, or one that's not aggravating. So the parent can say, I'm having some problems with eating. And then the chatbot can say, oh, okay, well, we met before and we know a little bit about your child. And so here's some tricks. Have you tried these? Or here's a blog article. Could you try this? Or just like connect people into a knowledge base. So you can imagine, like, if you're a family that's in a very remote setting, the nearest knowledgeable occupational therapist, might be in the capital city. It could be like a 6-hour flight. So you're totally cut off from that. But because we can deliver this knowledge and the product support and the other things that we need to do, directly to the family, that's another big value add. It's not only did they get the participant chair, but they got the participant product support.
So, I mean, it's like you're really creating, I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. This really is about, it's not just saying, like, hey, here's a chair, go figure out life. It's really is like, here's a chair, let's work together to make sure that you're getting everything that you need, not just from the chair, but also what else can we provide to give you the quality of life that we're hoping have it all come together as a whole.
Yeah. So this is not my first rodeo. I've actually done badly before. So one of the things that nonprofits do and for-profits do too, you're trying to accomplish some kind of a thing, right? And so you're like, oh, okay, let's give the person the chair, and then we can count chairs given, and surely great things will happen. But it's like, actually, we scratched our heads back at the beginning. We're like, well, what we want to happen is we want the child or the adult to be participating. Like, we want the adult to be able to get to the job interview and then have the chair not break after they got the job. Like, they need to keep participating. The child needs to be able to go to those social interactions, whatever they may be. It's like, not every kid is going to be, super intelligent, right? They're not all going to finish high school, but whatever participation means for that person, we want them to be successful at that. So then we name the company over here, Participant. So we really count, like, how are we doing increasing participation? And so then a question like, oh, well, we need good product support. It's like, well, yeah, of course, because you can't get participation if you don't, okay, we'll have to do that too.
But it's not even just the participation support about the product. It's basically, if you're thinking about the AI and the chatbots and these other things, you're taking it far beyond just the support for the product. And I think that's such an element which I think, the information is there, but people don't know where to go. So if you're able to just say, hey, with us, we're going to help you go beyond. And really, like you said, it's right there in the name, help you participate with life. Like, that's really what this is all about. And I think, it's incredible what you're doing. It's absolutely,
it's bringing inclusion to the table. Most people's like, here's your chair, figure it out for yourself. You're actually providing a full service suite of services to help people.
Yeah.
Now I know that your Cub chair is your your highlighted chair. It won an award, and I know you're like, well, it's not the Nobel Peace Prize, but that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So there's the 𝒉𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈, not often talked about, Rehabilitation Engineering Society of North America.
I talk about it all the time.
I knew you would. So, and you'll probably be talking about it like every day the rest of this week, I'm sure. So it's super exciting stuff. But yeah, so there was a conference last year, and we were like the audience choice award. People liked what we'd been able to achieve, and that was cool. Like our peers said, "Good job." So that was cool.
And that's important. I mean, these are people that understand the industry, they understand the technology, they understand what you're doing, and they voted for you. I mean, that's very important.
So hopefully we'll, so nerds in an ivory tower, right? So where we really want to be winning in where we're starting to see really good results is like out in the field. We've had a bunch of chairs recently provided in Ecuador, and the people have a lot of experience, providing similar products, and they, thought Cub was really great to provide. Like it did a good job serving the children, but it was also like not a hassle for the providers. We've got a clinical trial ongoing in India now, and that seems to be going well. It's a third-party clinical trial, so I can't go over there, fiddle with it. That's against the rules. And then we've had chairs provided, a bunch of chairs in Kenya. There's 300 on the way to Zimbabwe, which is particularly exciting. We won. This is not an award, but there was a global tender offer posted, and there are dozens of kind of the established competitors that were competing, and I think they were buying 9 wheelchairs. This is like a big UN organization. We won 5 of them, so we were kind of like the big, new kid on the block. Comes through amazing. So now we need to actually deliver. The products need to actually be good
in a lot of countries.
Yeah. So our sales last quarter was, the first quarter shipping was 50,000. First quarter, this should be 250. I think we'll do close to that or more this quarter. So it'll be over $1 million for the year. And I can kind of look at the customers that we know and see, in 3 years, there'll be, 10 million in revenue. So this is, we want this to be a big thing. We're going to really do it.
I mean, what has been the biggest hurdle so far? I mean, obviously, how did going through 2 years, I know, right? Yeah, there's a question. Going through 2 years of the pandemic, how did that impact everything?
So we raised our funding in 2019, and the assumption was when we closed the round in January of 2019, okay, this is an 18-month runway, so we'll just finish the product and start selling it. And so 2 years later, we have to like stretch that runway, figure out which belts are we going to tighten so that we don't go bankrupt before we ever start selling. So that was a challenge. We had a couple of investors that came through to kind of help us through the gap. Super grateful there. But yeah, the hard thing, like solving these technical problems, setting up the manufacturing, finding the customers, getting into the markets. Even like AI chatbot, which sounds like so difficult. We ran a pilot on that during COVID in Nairobi, and it was, not a slam dunk, but definitely like a success on the first try. So, but yeah, the fundraising is just like so difficult.
Well, let's talk about that. How can people find you? And you are looking for investors, and you are looking for people to support you. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you on that?
Well, yeah. So first, check us out and see if you think our products and our mission is like a good fit for you. If you feel like the values align, then let's talk. So go to our website, participant.life, and watch the videos and read about us a little bit. Send us a message from the website. I'll probably reply the next day. Those go to my inbox. So no spammers, please. And then I can show you the pitch deck or whatever else you'd like to know about the company. We've got like the full, we're a for-profit company raising money, so we've got the full due diligence package ready to show you.
I love the way that you started that by saying, go to our website and see if it's a good fit. Like, I actually think, if that doesn't say a lot about like who you are and what the company is about, I think that's, that to me is it's a small sentence right there, but it means a lot, because it's basically saying we want you to understand what we're doing, not just throw money. Make sure it lines up with your core beliefs.
Yeah. So,
you know,
and I'll throw this out there to other, like, you know, company founders or board members or whatever. But so we're a B Corp pending company. We're registered as a benefit corporation. Pretty soon we'll have the little B Corp logo like Patagonia and, you know, and others. And so, you know, there's a good reason to be cynical about these little labels. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you got a label. You know, does that really mean anything, right? So B Corp does actually check. Like, we do get audited that we're, you know, delivering on our commitment. So that's really important. And we got the support of the community and so on. But where it really helps is what you were just saying. Kind of when an investor decides to get involved with us, they know we're really serious. Like, this is not just window dressing or PR this year, and pretty soon there'll be new management and they'll have some other, you know, thing that they crow about. It's like, no, we're super committed. This is in our organization founding documents. We're committed to this, you know, these B Corp ideals, and that helps us to get the right employees, the right investors. There's partners that work with us where maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So yeah, it's important to be serious and get other people on the outside to check and show that you are.
I think that's fantastic. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
So I guess one question which I did have is, like, so right now, I mean, you've listed a lot of countries that you've got stuff in. Over the past years, have you seen any place that has possibly the greatest need that you're going after? Or that you, and I shouldn't say going after, but want to be in?
Well, I mean, there's places with more population and less, and there's places that are more and less cut off from the, from kind of the rest of what's going on. You know, right next door, actually, Mexico is really kind of a bummer. There's been a lot of progress. There's this Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities that was passed in the UN. It was the fastest and most overwhelming yes that ever happened in the United Nations in terms of, like, adopting a new article. So I believe that Mexico has signed on, but they're not really doing a great job in budgeting and providing for people with disabilities. So you've got this country that's, like, right next to ours. And so people know about the good technology, but it's not very available in their country. So that is one place that we'll open up a warehouse and begin to do marketing and try to, you know, push product out into that market, because there's a lot of need there. We did, you can go to our website and watch our videos, but we did a bunch of our product development there. So it's a good, you know, North Mexico is kind of desert, so we can do research there that is informative for a lot of places in the world. And yeah, I'd love to see big change in Mexico.
So you're focusing on the northern part of Mexico, because Mexico's a huge country. So is your focus primarily the north?
Well, the focus is going to be where we put the warehouse. So there's talk about the warehouse being in Veracruz or Mexico City, and then, you know, we try to start, like, reaching those markets first. So that's kind of TBD. But.
Excellent.
I had another question. So I want to get back to the AI and the chatbot really quick. So how will this work if you're dealing with some countries where there may not be the strongest internet? Or, I mean, how does that come into play?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and I have like a not sensitive answer. So maybe I'll get like 4 stars for being sensitive. But so we have to kind of think about, like, where people will be and not where they are. So, you know, like, even Chris and I go to Guatemala. My wife and I go to Guatemala quite a lot. I go to Kenya. It's like shocking how many people have smartphones. They don't all have the money to pay for the data to access all the resources, but that gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So so I think that more and more people will have these things available, and, you know, while they're waiting, we'll be developing the tools to be better and better, so that hopefully, you know, everybody will have access at some point.
That's actually the perfect. I actually think that that's the perfect response to it, is that, like, you know, we can't control it now, but we can help you plan for the future, which is
So okay, 4 stars.
Yeah, I'll give you 4.5. I'll give you 4.5.
Thanks.
4.5. No, I love the work that you're doing, because, I mean, again, putting people first is important. Working with people with disabilities. I mean, honestly, when people talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, they often forget about people with disabilities. And it's like, we need, you know, these are able people and they should be
Yeah,
included in everything. And yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I've, I mean, I want to, we're 50% people with disabilities on our tiny little team now, and we'll try to maintain that. But there's this big group of people that are underemployed. So they're
yeah,
smart, creative, you know, they're like really happy to, you know, have a job and be on a team, and they're, you know, can be quite loyal in that way. So yeah, I think this is you know, something that hiring managers should really think about. Like, how do we connect to this, you know, to this group? Maybe there's some accommodations. Maybe we're going to have to put in a ramp, or, you know, whatever, make the bathroom door a little wider. But you know, I think there really are a lot of people that have a lot to contribute. So we'll keep on hiring people with disabilities, and it's totally been great for us. That's another thing. If you want to ping me, I'll give you the, you know, the honest, you know, how did you do that, and what are accommodations really like? And there's a lot of resources for U.S. businesses that way too. So.
and the American with Disabilities Act kind of requires that buildings have ramps
Absolutely.
and wider doorways. I mean, that is
True.
law.
Yes.
I mean, I gotta say, this has been like I mean, anybody, I mean, I've known Keoke for a little bit right now, and you, Chris, I mean, you guys are the kind of people that when you're around you just kind of, you sit there and you're going, damn it, I need to be a better person. And so it's like, it's just the truth. I mean, because what you guys are doing is like, you're very humble about everything that you're doing. And I know we've said that word a lot, but it really does fit, because you're out here just doing work that needs to be done. And you're not thinking about like the accolades that come with it. You're just thinking about.
Yeah. So my philosophy on this is like, well, you know, if you're gonna eat, you probably need to work. You know, so work is hard. You know, wherever whatever job it is you do, you can make it out to be really difficult and complain about it. That's almost a game. So yeah, so you're going to have to do some work, and it's going to be hard. So then why do I want to make like new napkin rings for 𝑦𝒍𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈? Like, that's just super pointless. Like, no, you know, nobody should have to do that. They will pay me a lot to do that, but you know, it's not just about getting paid. So I have to work. And so let's try to do something meaningful. And I'm not a brilliant guy, you know, I'm not like valedictorian. I'm not, you know, but so I've just chosen to put my effort into this particular work, and it's, for once, it seems to be going better. So I'm grateful.
I know we're all grateful that you're doing it. I will say that, because I think, you know, before we really gotten into talking about this beforehand, it's like I knew kind of what you were doing, but then as I learned more about it, I'm just like, when this is just, it's just cool. I mean, and it's just really good to see somebody saying like, I want to do something that, you know, obviously work, take care of the family, put food over the table, but also leave your mark in the world and know that you're doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing. I was just about to say, you're doing the right thing. So
that's all I got. But I think I'm
yeah, it's important work. And Keoke, I love the fact that you said, you know, you could do something that made a ton of money, but would you actually find fulfillment in that? No. And I think a lot of us here can resonate with that. We've all made life choices recently. Pardon me?
What if it was a napkin holder instead of a napkin ring? Did you think about that?
See, it's the way you tell the story.
Yeah.
Got to do the branding.
You know, I can't top that. I can't.
I'm not a proud man. I'm not a proud man. Yeah. I know we're coming up on
Yes, you are actually, but anyway.
Yeah. So again, Keoke, tell people the best way to find you online and to connect. One more.
Yeah. So the website is participant.life. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm Keoke, Keoke, on LinkedIn. You can find me there. And yeah, I'd love to meet you. We can have a casual chat, just Q&A. I'm available.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. Keoke, the work you're doing is important. People need to know about this. People need to invest in this. It's going to be huge. We have, again, 40 million people that do not have access to wheelchairs. This is important work. So thank you for that. Joel, thank you for the introduction. Definitely, Keoke, come back with updates on how you guys are growing, because I have a feeling you're going to be exploding.
Oh, and sweet. And thanks, Wendy, and thanks, Joel.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you guys. This is a lot of fun. Thank you for the exposure.
Absolutely. So guys, I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice, with my co-host Joel Vendette. And again, Keoke King, check them out at Participant Assistive Products. It's participant.life is their website. And we will see you guys later. Have a great day. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.